On this week's show, Mulele joins me to discuss the 6th issue of one of our favorites, Chad in Amsterdam. First, if you appreciate the work we do on this podcast, we'd love it if you'd support the show at patreon.com/deconcomics for as little as $2 a month. Check out our goals and rewards and pledge your support now at patreon.com/deconcomics. This is Tim.
I'm Mulele.
And this is Deconstructing Comics. Welcome to Deconstructing Comics. This is Tim in Tokyo, and back from podcast retirement, it's Mulele. How you doing?
I'm good. I wasn't exactly retired, just kind of lethargic.
Well, busy drawing comics, among other things.
That's a better way to put it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And by the way, happy 16th anniversary of Deconstructing Comics.
God damn. That's
I know.
A long time.
Yeah, December 5th was the release date of our first episode in 2005. So.
Wow. Well, I should say congratulations to you, Tim. That's a lot of hard work. I don't envy the hard work, but I admire the goal.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, So how do you lure Mulele back to the podcast? You offer him a chance to talk about Chad in Amsterdam.
Damn straight.
We got issue 6 from Chad Bilyeu recently, and so we're going to talk about it here. And I decided, no more of this critiquing comics crap. He's on Deconstructing Comics now. He's moving up in the world. Now you've arrived, Chad. You're on Deconstructing Comics. Well, and I interviewed him on Deconstructing Comics a while back. So talk about his book on Deconstructing Comics. Yeah, so this time the only color is on the cover. I think in the past he did have some color stories, didn't he?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Seems like he did.
Yeah.
And then there are 3 stories in this. So the cover appears to be, well, it's Amsterdam, right? And people go to coffee shops and smoke pot and stuff. So it looks like that's what's going on here. Kind of. Well, and not all the people in this picture are people. There are aliens. There's a duck. A menagerie of folks here lighting up. Yeah, kind of interesting.
Well, it's a coffee shop for everybody, I guess. But Chad did mention in the back of the issue that this is a wraparound cover, and it's actually quite nice. The colors, the illustration itself has a very fabulous Furry Freak Brothers vibe to it.
Yeah, it brings to mind Underground Comics, yeah.
Yeah.
I should say the artist's name, if I can figure out how to pronounce it. Maybe Boyane One. At least if I'm reading it like it's Romanized Japanese, that's what I come up with. Or if I read it like an American who sees all E's at the ends of word as silent, I could say Boyane One, but I doubt if that's right. But something like that. Okay, so the first 2 stories have their titles at the end, I guess because he considered them to be kind of spoilers, I don't know. But the first one is called A Night to Remember, and the artist is Dan Meth. It's apparently, I assume that's Chad on the left, and a couple of other people, well, a bartender and another perhaps African-American person in a bar yucking it up. And Chad tells the story about when he was a kid and met the group Shalimar. Certainly remember some of their music from high school.
That's a bit before my time, actually.
Okay.
Actually, I should say right around high school, I was fully into industrial music, and this music scene kind of missed me.
Okay. Well, yeah, this is early 80s stuff. So, and it's clear to the reader that was this his own uncle Yeah, it's his uncle, and he's with his cousin there, and the uncle takes both of them to meet Shalimar. But it turns out two of the three members, this is after two of them had left and were replaced with different members that the boys never, had no idea who these people were. But it's clear to the reader that their uncle is delivering cocaine to them, and they're all going into the bathroom and do it. But Chad and his cousin have no idea what's going on. And then there's a punchline that I won't spoil. But yeah, this was kind of a fun story.
Yeah, I quite dug it too. It's very personal. Hopefully there's not a bad accusation of drug abuse by the lead singer Shalimar.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, assuming the story is true, I mean, he can't say that it's, what is it if it's in print? Libel?
Yeah. Well, it's curious that the way the story is told, the cocaine use is never explicitly shown. It's assumed by the storyteller.
That's true.
And even then, it's not explicitly said. It's more inferred.
Mm-hmm.
The assumption of drug abuse is inferred, rather the inference is assumed by the reader. So that's like three times removed. I don't know if that's too much into libel territory at this point, but
yeah, I mean, he never actually shows them doing drugs on panel, so there is some plausible deniability there, I guess. Like, yeah. I think that's what you were doing, but I didn't actually see you do it.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty clear in the story when he tells it, that that's what the assumption is. Yeah. But still, it is kind of a fun tale. And to be honest, with all of his stories, especially this one and the last one, I felt that there is much more of a storyteller mode than just a this is what happened, or this is the situation, or this is this fucked up thing. To be honest, my mind is getting a little bit fuzzy on the first couple of issues, but the last one was the one about Santa Claus, and
right.
What's his name, Black Pete? Yeah,
I think that's right.
Yeah. By the way, not to steal the thunder from this issue, but that one, oh my fucking god! There are lots of oh my god things in that. Yeah, but that issue and this issue, I felt overall had much more of a storyteller vibe than just documentarian vibe.
Right. I mean, well, we're seeing him as he's telling the story in the bar, and saying, "You better top us off. I don't tell short stories." So, yeah. There's actually another point in another story. Just to reference it here, because I'll lose it if I don't say it now. I think it was in the third story where he's talking to someone, and she asks, "Do you have a point, Chad?" And he simply responds, "If I'm speaking, there's a point." And I kind of felt that his stories always have a point and always have something to them more than just the telling. And so, yeah, I felt it not only in the fact that he's in a bar telling a story of something that happened to him in life and that we're reading that story, but also for the way the storyteller described in the comic tells the story. There's a lot of nuance and knowing in the way he tells the story, which I appreciated. Yeah. Okay, second story. Now, I found the second story really disorienting. So, there, like I said, the title of this one is also at the end of it. So you're just thrown directly from the Shalimar story that ends with a picture of the record label that showing A Night to Remember, Shalimar, and the credits. Then you're going straight to another bar scene where there's a all you can see is there's a cat on the counter with some drinks around, and the cat is the focus of the panels for most of the page. And someone is saying, so you're telling me that the story you just told was fabricated? And I'm saying, the Shalimar story?
Yeah, yeah, I had that too.
So it wasn't even true? But once you get to the next page, you see that this is a completely different bar scene with different people.
Yeah.
Chad is that guy with curly hair? Is he Chad? It's hard. He doesn't look like he's African American. And with different artists every time, it takes a little while to figure out which one is Chad or if he's even in the story.
No, because the guy telling the story is Brad Pitt, and this took place just after Thelma and Louise.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then years later.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just wondering about the guy at the bar with the curly hair. Is he supposed to be Chad, or is he some random guy?
No, because if this is Brad Pitt that the guy with curly hair is speaking to, and it's 1993, or 2, or whenever it was that Brad Pitt was there, then how could that be Chad? He wasn't there at the time.
Okay. I didn't think it was, but the fact that Chad was not in the story, I found a little disorienting. And then, this guy's Brad Pitt? Maybe. I wasn't quite sure because most of the references I don't know because, as you know, I rarely watch movies. Although I knew that Brad had been in late seasons of Dallas as like a teenager, and that's mentioned. But the other TV show and movie appearances were lost on me.
Yeah, I don't remember him in 21 Jump Street. I think I was a fan at the time, but Thelma and Louise was the big giveaway for me.
Okay. So I just had trouble kind of figuring out what the story was about and was kind of wondering, where's Chad? But yeah, like you said, the whole thing is taking place before Chad got to Amsterdam.
Yeah. But I wonder, does he talk about this cafe? Because it is the cafe that he goes to now? Or was he talking about this cafe because it's just famous? I considering the content that we've received from Chad so far, I would think that it's because he goes there, not because he has seen something there more than just Brad Pitt decided he liked it and used it in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really about Amsterdam as much as it is about this bar, the relationship between the bar and Brad Pitt.
Right. Now, well, of course, on page 20, I think it's jumping ahead to the present day.
Yeah.
And so maybe is that Chad who walks in and asks for a vodka Red Bull?
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's kind of hard to tell because we've switched artists here, and I can't even quite tell the race of this person. So, but yeah, it's definitely in the present, and they're talking about the bar being famous because Brad Pitt had visited there.
Yeah.
And so this was supposed to be at the time of the making of Ocean's 11?
No, Ocean's 12 took place in Europe, I think.
Okay.
Was it 12 or 13? I don't remember.
I never saw any of those.
One of them took place in Europe, and it was considered the most bizarre, a very bizarre story or very bizarre movie. But I don't know. Perhaps this story is true. I'm assuming it's true. I don't actually remember the movie because it's just one of those watch it and forget it flicks for me. But yeah, I'm assuming that it's true.
Yeah, I assume it is too, but we should mention the artist is Sean Vandermeulen. Hopefully I'm pronouncing these names correctly. I mean, the artist is fine. Brad kind of looks like Brad. I was less sure of the other actors. But yeah, this one has a lot of like ink wash in it.
Yeah. It has a really nice style, but between the first story and the second story, the transition is so subtle that I don't pick up on it at first. And so, yeah, it kind of adds to the confusion of, well, which story are we in now? And it's not that you need to have a splash page and a title every time you start a story, but I think here there would have been it would have been a good place to add just a little something of a title or something to denote a different story.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's clear the art is different, but yeah, especially with that comment in the first panel, it really felt like it was continuation at first.
Yeah.
And so we find out at the end that the story is called Brad in Amsterdam. I mean, what else could you call it?
Yeah.
Rhymes with the title of the magazine. And then the final story, and this transition is much clearer because we got the title at the beginning, Billy Ocean, and the art style is quite different.
Yeah.
The Sean Vandermeulen, the second story, is kind of a looser style than the other two stories. This one is a little more, what do I want to say? Not so, it's tighter, I guess, is the best way to put it. And so this is, it says circa 2014, so not recently, but it's Chad in Amsterdam at his office, and he hears that someone in the office is taking leave time because she had burnout from her job, and he's skeptical of that because people have better job benefits in the Netherlands than in the States, and he just kind of doubts that their things are bad enough for them to have burnout. And so then he starts taking time off, like staying home every day or going out on bicycle rides and going for foot massages and stuff and calling in sick every day saying he has the burnout. And eventually he has to, HR calls him, tells him to see a doctor to verify his burnout. And he finds a way to convince the doctor that he does have some justification for saying that he has burnout. So yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Actually, I saw more that Chad was calling them a bunch of soft motherfuckers. Because,
well, that too.
Yeah. I mean, the way he just like, yeah, I got the burnout too. See you later. That doesn't play. But when he actually describes what he's going through in that situation, it does show them up as kind of soft.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little skeptical of his thesis at first too until I got to the end.
Yeah, and the end does really bring it home. And to be honest, as an expat, kind of permanently playing an away game, as you put it in the back, I kind of feel it. There are some things where I look at the American system and say, God damn, it's rough over there. And over here, it's much easier. That's why I stay.
Yeah.
Imagine my life without healthcare. I'd be dead.
Yeah, that's one of the things that scares me away from thinking about going back too.
Yeah.
So, as usual, he has a column at the end. Oh, did I mention the artist of the third story? No, I didn't.
Not yet.
Jared Bogus?
Bogus.
Bogges.
Okay.
Bogus or Bogus. Or Bogus, maybe. I'm not sure.
I like that one.
But yeah, so Chad's column at the end, he mentions that he got a grant for his comics, the MMC Arts Grant. So that's news. That's good for him. Good job.
Yeah. I did not know this thing existed, but absolutely congratulations. And one thing that struck me about reading that bit, that he was, I guess, not feeling it, is kind of what I took. he puts it as a boost of encouragement that was sorely needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry if it was sorely needed. I mean, you've always got my support.
I mean, I think we've been encouraging.
Well, non-monetarily currently, right. Because I'm even my holes have holes.
Yeah, sorry, Chad. The check from us is not in the mail.
Yeah, not quite yet. Not quite yet. But no. The man makes good comics. Mm-hmm. He tells good stories. He has an eye for artists. I don't always agree, but he definitely has an idea or an ideology for how a comic should be. And I have to respect it. It is good.
Yeah, definitely. And as he mentions in the back, he recently was the editor of an anthology book, which he sent to us. I haven't had time to read it. Some of it is in Dutch, so that's kind of a barrier. But I did look at the first part of it. That first artist in there is fantastic and kind of crazy, but I'd like to take a closer look at it when I got some time. Okay, so I guess we got through it already, but
I don't really have a whole lot to say about this issue. It was kind of compact, and the issues that he tackles in this one aren't quite as meaty as I said about the last one.
Yeah, the whole Santa Claus thing.
Yeah, at least not from my perspective. Mm-hmm. But still, I would say another nice, solid issue from Chad.
Yeah, for sure. Check out Chad's work, including all 6 issues of Chad in Amsterdam and the first issue of the anthology book Mulele at chadinamsterdam.nl. You can help Deconstructing Comics, Critiquing Comics, and all our podcasts by joining us on Patreon at patreon.com/deconcomics. And go to deconstructingcomics.com to connect to us on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, to shop on Amazon to support the show, and to find links to subscribe to the podcast. Our theme is by J.B. Anderton. If you're looking for some constructive feedback on your comic, send it to us and we'll critique it on our spin-off podcast, Critiquing Comics. Send it to mail@deconstructingcomics.com. We'll read at least 30 pages of it and critique it on the show. Next week, a graphic novel about dealing with grief. And no, it's not a relentless downer, in part because it's so well done. I'm joined by graphic medicine expert Alice Jaggers to talk about No One Else by R. Kikuo Johnson. Till then, this is Tim, and thanks for listening to Deconstructing Comics.